And I went to go get some water, and I was drinking the water. As soon as I lifted up my cup, she was standing right next in front of me. And I remember I was holding that cup and I was so scared. Welcome back, you guys. I'm Tassie, and for this episode for my Ghostly Update vlogs, I'm going to be updating you guys. Really, I've had people asking me questions about my boyfriend, especially because he's not Hmong, he is white, and a lot of people just want to know, like, what's his thoughts on it and insights, especially because I see ghosts and that I was a shaman. And we're going to be touching base on some of my ghost stories. So let's go ahead and get started. So, my boyfriend. I've mentioned it in other videos, you guys. When I was like 27, turning 28, I was turning 28, I decided to start dating and like being serious about trying to get into a relationship. It was a hot mess, a really, really hot mess. And then when I was turning 30, I was 29. Yeah, I was 29. I was already halfway through me being 29. And that's what I met my boyfriend now. And I'm 32 now. So, first off, when I stopped being a shaman, my Koneng actually told me about my boyfriend now, that I would end up meeting him. And it happened exactly like the exact time frame. They gave me a time frame, and it was the exact time frame. And when he came, I had gone through a lot of crazy dating stuff. And when I finally gave up on dating, like I was like, because like I was getting a lot of guys really mad at me because they wanted super serious relationships, but I knew it wasn't with them I was supposed to have it with. And I think they could feel it from me that I wasn't really into them. So then they clung on harder. And I was always the bad guy who ended up leaving the relationships. So I remember dating made me feel like I was such a bad person because every guy I met kept thinking like I was the one. But I knew they weren't the one for me. And I could feel that they were falling in love with me, and it was becoming something that was really, really terrifying where I didn't want to ruin their lives. I don't want to be that girl who like really messes up somebody. So I would always end the relationship because I just knew they weren't the one for me. And plus, I knew that like my boyfriend was now that he was coming. So then finally, I actually stopped dating because I started to feel really, really horrible. I was drinking a lot because I felt so guilty. So I started drinking a lot, and then I met my boyfriend. Everything changed. Like, you know, me being Hmong and Asian, especially because I'm a shaman, and I have my spirit guides, and you have like your ancestors and everything. He is like he was like made for me. Like, don't get me wrong, he drives me crazy. Like, he is exactly like me, but he's a crazier version. He thinks I'm crazier than him, but I think he's crazier than me, and I'm pretty sure I'm right. But I mean, there are so many times where I will like look at my boyfriend and I'm like, oh my God, you're so good looking. I have to quit being mean to you. I'm actually a really mean girlfriend, you guys. I'm very mean. I think people, okay, my friends all think I'm very, very mean in relationships, and my family. My family don't know how guys put up with me. They think that because I'm very vocal, demanding, and I'm very aggressive, I come off very, very aggressive because I know who I am, I know what I need, and I want it right now. Very impatient as well. But whenever I date guys, they always think I'm like super duper sweet, and I'm like, okay, like, okay then. Like, even my boyfriend now, he thinks I'm really, really sweet, but I get crazy. Like, if I'm tired, if I'm hungry, I'll get really agitated and I'll be super grumpy. And I make everybody know, and you could feel it in the air. But then, like, he is so good to me, and I'm always like looking at him sometimes, and I'll be like, oh my God, Tassie, like, you need to quit being crazy on him or he's gonna leave you. Like, he's like the only guy I've ever thought of him in that way. Like, oh my God, I need to be careful. He might leave me. All other guys, I was always like, I dare you to leave me. But, and it was really funny because I'll actually show you guys. This was the exact moment I fell in love with him. And it was so random, like my brother had come over. We went to Wisconsin and we got some fireworks and we came back to Minnesota to light them off. It was for the 4th of July weekend. We were all drinking and he lit my firework for me. It was a Roman candle. It was a big one. And I remember in that moment, I like fell in love with him. And you know, like I love lights too, so I wonder if that had something to do with it. But it was funny because we heard the police sirens and then we ran. And when we ran, I fell and I scraped my knee. And he like, even if we were like drinking and we had friends over, his friends, he always, like, if I cut myself and hurt myself, which I actually do a lot, I'm really clumsy, he always takes such a good care of me. He's like, he can be so romantic and so great, but he could drive me crazy, you guys. He could drive me crazy. So my boyfriend's kind of weird though. Like, even though he is white American, he's like 3rd generation born. Yeah, he's 3rd generation born. And he comes from, his family comes from Switzerland, France, and Germany. And so I think there's some Scottish in them too. I don't know. Anyways, it's kind of weird because we were drinking at a friend's house once and he saw the woman demon at their house. And he actually saw her. We were drinking. So he didn't really think anything of it. And he's not scared the way I get scared. Like, even though I'm a shaman and I've gone through a lot of stuff and I've witnessed a lot of stuff, it still scares me seeing them because I don't want to deal with it. And so, like, but he saw her. And then what happened was, like, a couple of weeks later, there was like a snowstorm here in Minnesota, and I ended up falling asleep at my friend's house there, the same house. My brother, his girlfriend, us, we had all gone over to drink, and we decided to sleep there that night. And I knew that demon, because it was hiding from me. A lot of times demons and ghosts, they'll hide from me whenever I'm in a house. I knew, she knew, I knew, and she was hiding, and I knew she was going to wait until I fell asleep. So what happened was I ended up falling asleep. And it was the worst thing in the world. Like, I literally was sleeping, and I slept on the couch, and I was literally sleeping, and she was standing in the living room in my dream, and she was looking at me. And I was really thirsty because they had the heat on really high. It's winter, you guys. They had the heat on really high, and we had been drinking, so I was really, really thirsty. So in real life. But in my dream, I was also very thirsty. So what it did, she came as my friend. My friend there, she has children. And the ghost demon chick came as her kid. And she has like 3 of them. Yeah, she has 3 kids. She has 3 kids. And they took turns. Like, the demon girl became each one of her kids. And the kid kept coming up to me trying to offer me water. Trying to give me water. Now, in my dreams, whenever I consume anything, if I eat, if I drink anything, I actually become sick in real life. So it's kind of hard telling yourself not to eat in your dream. But anyways, if I ever end up eating, then I end up being sick in real life. So the demon kept coming up as a kid and trying to offer me water because I was so thirsty. And I remember it took everything I had in me. I kept saying, no, I don't want the water. I kept saying no. And then what ended up happening was I wouldn't accept the water. So then what happened was, for the rest of the night, she stood in the living room where I was sleeping and just stared at me. And after that incident, I was talking to my boyfriend, and I told him about what happened when I was over at our friend's house there. And he told me, like, I never described what she had looked like, but my boyfriend described exactly what she had looked like. To the T. And I was like, he knew her haircut. He knew how long it was. He knew what color it was. He knew what she was wearing. And I was like, why didn't you tell me? And he was like, well, he didn't think anything of it, you know? And I'm just like, oh my God. So it's, even though he's like very, very white, he actually experiences a lot of things. And it's really funny because a lot of times for like shamans, you'll actually have like some kind of tool, like a weapon. He always has dreams of him with a sword. And like, I'll be sleeping over and he'll be chasing demons all the time. So he always says I bring demons to his house. But I don't really think so. I think they have demons. But he's always like fighting demons too in his dreams. And he always has a sword. He's always chasing them. Now, that house where that demon chick is at, oh my god, it messes around with the kids a lot, and it shakes their bed, like it moves their beds, and I don't know. They went to some shaman. I don't know. I'm not saying nothing. I just know, but it's like a house that they rented. It's not like it's their house. So I told her not to really make a big deal about it. Like, don't do like a whole ceremony and stuff because it's just a rental property. It's a lot of money doing ceremonies to get rid of a demon. It's a lot of money. So, I mean, with my boyfriend, like whenever I see things, whenever I'm with him and I see a ghost or something like that, I always tell him, and he's very, very receptive of it. He's very understanding. And I had mentioned in another video too, he had asked why I stopped being a shaman because for him, he's not religious. Like his mom is. His mom, she's Catholic and everything. But for him, he's not very religious. So he doesn't go to church every Sunday. I don't either. When I was a kid, I did. But I don't go to church now. And I don't practice shamanism anymore. And even though, I'm not a practicing shaman, a lot of ghosts and demons, they still stay away from me. They still tend to hide from me. And it's not like I'm going to do anything to them because I'm so glad I don't have to do anything. Well, because like I'm not a shaman anymore, so it's not like I'm going to want to do anything. And I remember when I was young, I used to question all of the time because people always made such a big deal that ghosts and demons shouldn't be here because it's not right. And I was always like, why? Like, why don't you just leave them alone? Like, so now I'm finally living it out where I don't care if they're there as long as you leave me alone and I'll leave you alone. But even though, I'm never, I want to say I'll never, because I threaten them sometimes. So, so remember, you guys, I had, in my other channel, my mukbang channel, I was eating pho. And I was speaking in Hmong in that video. Yeah, and there was this ghost girl that was breathing into the microphone. And later that evening, what had happened was I went outside, and when I was coming in from taking out my trash, she was standing by the door, and she looked miserable, like like in like imagine like a scary Japanese movie, like that's what she looked like, which was really weird because normally she doesn't look like that, but she came and looked like that, and she told me, "I'm really hungry," and I was like, so I did threaten her that I would destroy her. And so since then, she kind of left me alone. But, it's not like I'm going to, okay, I may do it. Okay. I need to keep my threat alive, you guys. I am very, very thankful, though, that I found my boyfriend, and because going through this kind of stuff, it's very lonely if you can't share it with your partner, and so with a lot of my exes and everything, I knew I wouldn't end up being with them just because I knew that they weren't somebody who could fully relate to me about this, because even if they doubt me just a little bit, to me that means that they don't accept who I am. And I'm not okay with that. I can find somebody else who will accept me for who I am. So that's just, yeah, that's my attitude in a nutshell. So yeah, I'm very, very thankful. It's like, even though I go really crazy on my boyfriend, I just get bad attitude sometimes, like, you're tired, you're hungry. Women are like that. We get really cranky if we're hungry. But then, like, he's such a great guy. He's like, anything I mention, he does it. Like, he goes out of his way, and he always does it. His family is great. His mom is so amazing. So amazing. Like, they're all very understanding. Like, his mom is aware, that I was a shaman and I could see things and everything like that, because I saw his mom and his grandmother. Okay, like, I was really terrified when I saw his grandmother. So, like, my boyfriend, his dad and his grandfather have passed away, and as did his grandmother. Now, his dad and his grandfather I'll see around the house, and they don't scare me. Like, they'll just kind of stare at me for a long time, but then they don't scare me. Oh, but his grandmother, she scares me to my core. Like, so like my boyfriend and I, we had been dating for 2 years before I finally saw her. And that was pretty crazy because I was purposely looking for her because I knew she had to be there because I would see the dad and the grandfather all the time, but I wouldn't see the grandmother. And it was over the holidays too, to make it worse. It was over the holidays, and my boyfriend had gotten me some white roses. And he knows I really like white roses. And for my birthday, he got me red ones over there. But anyways, so he got me white roses, and I was so happy. I love them. And then there's actually like a passing through the kitchen where it's just like an open space, and then you can see, and then you have like the wall and the fridge and everything. And my flowers was on the counter by there. I remember my boyfriend, he had gone upstairs. They live in a duplex. Like, their family owns a duplex. My boyfriend had gone upstairs to go grab something, and then I remember I was just like brushing my hair. I turned my head over there, and I saw his grandmother walk past my flowers. And I was like, oh my God. Like, did I really just see that? Because she was wearing all brown. And I was like, maybe it's nothing. And then my boyfriend comes back down, and I'm talking to him, and I was like, did your grandmother like wear a lot of brown? And he was like, oh yeah, like she wore brown all the time. And I was like, oh my God. So I was like, I don't know why, but when his grandmother walked past the flowers, it was very, very creepy. It was like, I don't know why, it's not creepy like when his grandfather and his dad stares at me around the house. It's not creepy. But when his grandmother did it, so then like, I didn't think anything, and probably like 30 minutes later, he went to go and get Sammy, the dog, and we were going to walk Sammy. And I went to go get some water, and I was drinking the water. As soon as I lifted up my cup, she was standing right next in front of me. And I remember I was holding that cup, and I was so scared. I was so scared, you guys. I was drinking the water, and I'm just like, and I didn't turn the lights on in the kitchen, so I was sitting there in the dark holding my cup, and I just kept it in front of my face. I wasn't even swallowing, you guys. I just kept it there, and she was just standing there behind the glass. And it's like a big mug, kind of, but the mug is glass. It's clear. It's see-through. So I was just like pretending to look at the water. I wouldn't look at her, you guys. So then I was like praying and praying and praying for my boyfriend to come back downstairs. So my boyfriend finally comes down, and I am like freaking out. I'm completely freaking out. Why did his grandmother show up suddenly? She liked the flowers. And it was because my boyfriend had got me the white roses. She really liked the white flowers. So she kept coming around the flowers, and she was trying to tell me she likes the flowers. But I was too terrified to face her. Oh my God. I remember I was telling my boyfriend's mom about this, and I was like completely freaking out. I was completely freaking out. So like, like some people are completely okay. Like, this is totally gonna make me sound heartless, you guys. But if you know somebody who you're really close to, like let's say it's your parents, right? And they pass on, there is a huge population who is not afraid of them. Like if you saw them, they wouldn't be afraid of them. Like they would run up to them and hug them and tell them all these things, right? Not me. So like I had a dog who's to this day, I always say he is my first son. Like, he passed away when he was 3. He was a German Shepherd. His name was Grizzly. He is my first son. And when he passed away, it's like a part of me died with him. But if Grizzly appeared right in front of me, this girl who a part of her died with her dog, no, I will burn him alive. Like, no, like, don't even show up in front of me, okay? Like, no, like, I know it totally makes me sound heartless. But no, like, no. Like if it was my own mom and dad who appeared in front of me and they had passed on, which they haven't, knock on wood, when they're like 120 years old. No. Like don't come up in front of me. Like I'm not okay with this. Like I would freak out, you guys. I would run for it. I think the reason why I'm so freakish about it is because I know it's not them. Like, okay, a part of it is them. But the big part of it is not them anymore, you guys. That's not them. But people, to make themselves feel better about situations, they will just accept it as them. It's not who they were when they were alive that you're clinging on to. All right, another video, I'll talk more about a scenario when I was a shaman and I actually had to do a ceremony for this girl whose father had passed away, and how heartbreaking it was for her. Because basically, when you're a shaman, if you ever run into the deceased when you're in the spirit world, you are supposed to kill them. You're supposed to just destroy them. Next video, I'll talk about that. You guys. So yeah, my boyfriend pretty much knows I'm crazy. His mom knows I'm crazy. They're still very, very accepting of me. There was this meme that I saw that said, at what point can you show you're crazy in a relationship? And it's basically the point where they're so in love with you, they won't ever leave. I've shown my boyfriend crazy way, way early. Completely accepting of it. So he's probably already too in love with me. He can't ever leave. All right, you guys. Thanks for watching. Until next time.